Welcome to Boys, episode 183. It's our first show of 2020, baby.
First show of the new decade, man.
Oh, man. You rung in the new year last night. You were working.
Yeah, I'm always working on New Year's, and man, I'll tell you, it's a love-hate relationship. Love the money. I hate the people.
You hate the people.
Yeah, I mean, working in the bar and service industry, it really makes you hate people.
Yeah, the bad people.
The bad people.
Yeah, there's
But
good people,
a lot
right?
of great people.
Okay. You hate the bad people.
Well, it gives you more insight that there are a lot of shitty people out there.
Well, and you give the bad people a little liquid courage, as they say, a little social lubricant, a little hooch.
Little hooch.
Sometimes those bad people turn into worse people.
Yeah, but
Sometimes not.
Here's the thing as well. I think the people who are bad people at a bar, I think with just a little bit of guidance, they could become good people.
Yeah.
They just don't know.
Maybe you should guide them.
Yeah, like a young Skywalker, like a Star Wars tale.
Yeah, or like a drunken prophet.
Yeah.
You prophesize to the drunkards and the party people.
My 12 drunk apostles, and I'm the G. Well, I don't go that far.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be sacrilegious. Kate and I stayed in last night. We had the little one, so we let her stay up a little bit later since we didn't have to work today, New Year's Day, when we're recording this. The little one didn't have school, so she stayed up a little later. Fell asleep on the couch around 10. Last year, Kate and I were laying in bed, falling asleep right before the ball drop.
Really?
So this year we were like, "Are we making it to midnight?" And I said, "Yeah, we're making it to midnight, baby."
Did you drink like coffee or like a Red Bull or anything to try to stay up, or just?
No, I didn't. I had a Pepsi. I went hard. I cracked a Pepsi at about 10 p.m. And let me tell you,
That's probably enough sugar to get you going.
that's what I needed.
Yeah.
But we stayed up. We watched the ball drop. Immediately went to bed afterwards. It was probably like 12:15. And I was like, okay, we rang it in.
I gotta ask, who'd you watch?
Well, we bounced around. So I watched a little Sam Roberts Now.
Okay.
Sam from the Jim and Sham show.
Was he doing a ball drop thing?
So he, in addition to doing their show on Sirius XM, he does a YouTube show.
Okay.
And it's called Sam Roberts Now. And it's not for everybody. It's funny, but it's almost an extension of the Jim and Sam show. So if you don't listen to them, some of the references are lost.
Okay.
It's a good show though. Like I like the guy's personality.
He just does it on his own.
Yep. He's just behind a desk. There's a single shot video. He pulls up, clips and stuff and talks about things. And so we watched that. But the problem with living in Oklahoma is all of the New Year's stuff happens an hour before because it's all from New York. Or because New York 1 or 2 hours ahead of us. Just one, right?
2.
Is it 2?
2 hours.
I think it's just 1.
Is it 1?
I think it's just 1. 1 or 2, regardless. It happens before midnight here.
California's 2. 2 back.
Yeah, two back.
2 back.
2 back, 1 forward.
I always say that. Opposite attract, like that MC Scat Cat. Was that
Yeah.
one? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Scat, which is weird. Like MC
Scat Cat.
Scat Cat and Paula Abdul. I used to think she was so hot, dude.
Oh, dude.
I remember being at Showbiz Pizza.
And Paul Abdul showed up.
And she was there just munching a slice, dude. No, she's playing skee ball. No, I was playing the Ninja Turtles arcade game, the 4-player original, not to be confused with the first NES game that blows balls.
You're talking about the one where you're in the apartment building's on fire.
Yes.
And those little robot things are running around.
Yeah, the Mousers.
Mouser, yeah.
I was playing that, and I remember thinking I was hot shit because I had one of those sleeves full of tokens, those little sleeves the plastic cylinders that clip to your belt that have a spring in it and you feed out.
Whoa.
Do you remember those?
Yeah, I do.
Almost like the Sonic car hops had at the time, but those were the 4-up. This was just a single tube.
Wow.
I had one of those on my belt.
Cool.
Yeah, dude. Actually, I don't think I was wearing a belt. I think I was wearing some Hammer pants or something.
Some Bugle Boys or something.
Yeah. And I remember that coin dispenser so well. It was bright green and it said Showbiz Pizza on the side. And it was so dope. I wish I still had it.
I bet you won that with tickets.
I
right?
did,
Okay.
yes, on my previous visit.
Okay.
So I came prepared.
Bring this bitch back.
Right? You ever seen that GIF of Shane McMahon walking in the WWE?
Yeah,
and he's all noodle armed. That's how I felt walking into Showbiz that day. So I'm slaying some Mousers on the Ninja Turtle game. All of a sudden I start, they have music going over the PA,
Sure.
and all of a sudden I hear this. That's my rendition of Opposites Attract.
Yeah,
I don't remember how the song goes. And I'm thinking, this is cool. And they had TVs mounted, and they were showing the video for Opposites Attract.
Oh.
Paula Abdul, like a little leather jacket, some like tight pants, maybe like a midriff, and then Scat Cat.
Yeah, the cartoon Scat Cat.
And I thought that was so cool. And I remember being attracted to to Paula Abdul.
Me too. When I was a kid, I saw that video. I don't know why I thought it, because I didn't even know really what sex was. But here's what I would say today. But what I thought when I was a kid. She fucking that cat?
Exactly. I thought the same thing. In fact, my like 10-year-old brain, maybe I was even younger than that, maybe 8, 10, 11, totally went through my mind.
The logistics.
Yeah.
How's that work?
I was like, did they have to draw each thrust frame by frame? Like, because you'd see those like the making of Disney movies where they would pull down the different cells and it would move. It's like, is somebody making Paula Abdul pose like a gape? Yeah. And then drawing the cat
for the
unedited version?
You had that. You had Who Framed Roger Rabbit. There's all this like, let's put real people with cartoons.
Yeah.
Kids love it. Cool World.
Did you know? Oh, Cool World. Yeah. Did you know that if you play Who Framed Roger Rabbit on Laserdisc, and if you play it in slow motion, every 5th frame of Jessica Rabbit, she's naked?
Seriously?
That's what I heard when I was a kid. I think it's complete bullshit.
School bus folklore.
Yeah, I think it's complete bullshit, but I ate it up as a kid because I was hoping that would be true.
Former guest Sean Peel, got a Laserdisc player. If you have Who Framed Roger Rabbit, let us know.
We need the documents.
I need the documents.
I'm thinking, I mean, maybe it's real, but my bullshit meter's going off.
Well, there's also that, like, if you pause, there's a certain scene. If you pause it, you can see her pussy.
Right.
I remember that one.
She Sharon Stoned it.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of, I saw a GIF of that scene from Basic Instinct the other day. The beaver shot, as they call it, I guess you'd say. And when I was a kid and I heard about that, I guess I was a teenager, maybe 12, 13. I don't know exactly when that came out. But
I believe like 93 or something.
Okay, so I was 12, 13 years old. I never seen the movie, but I heard about that scene, and it was my conquest as a young man to get that movie.
Oh, yeah.
So a friend of mine's parents had it on VHS, and we stayed up and watched it one night.
You wanted to get a copy of it, or you just wanted to see it?
I just wanted to see it.
Because you heard about it.
Yeah, I had to see it. I heard she was sitting in a chair, and she like uncrosses her legs, and it was kind of a big deal because she...
92.
Yeah. Okay, I was 11. So it's kind of a big deal because she like showed her...
Cooter.
Her I almost said her hooter. That's not what you call that.
She showed
Rob.
her basic instinct.
She did.
She showed her stone.
But
she shared her stone.
She shared her stone. So we stayed up one night and we watched it, and it didn't really do anything for me. I was just like, okay.
Well, that's one scene. There's
just a ham wallet.
Her titties are in that whole movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of nudity in it.
A lot of nudity. And that movie was weird as a kid. I remember being 10. So 10's probably right when I first started doing stuff. When I found myself, so to speak.
Sure.
And that film would come on, that piece of cinema would come on like Showtime or HBO late night. And I remember being conflicted with that. Like, okay, she's hot. They're humping. This is hot. But she's also gonna murder him with an ice pick. Like,
she's psycho.
So I'm like half chubbed, like
confused boner.
Totally, very confused boner.
Dude. I feel you. Yeah, I don't even remember much of the plot of the movie other than she was crazy, and I do remember the ice pick scene. I remember the hooter scene, the cooter scene,
cooter scene,
and but yeah, that was that. And same with Roger Rabbit. Like, I was kind of oddly attracted to Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah,
they did that shit on purpose.
Oh,
man.
Made her with very large breasts. Her body is. Have you seen? There's a person who had the surgery done to look like.
Whoa.
Like had her.
No, but I've seen the photos of the woman who it was based on, and yeah, but even then, the cartoon is it's a lot more
exaggerated.
That's a perfect word, exaggerated.
But yeah, I don't know a man,
and she was like
straight
horny?
alive who didn't have a thing for her. What?
She was like really horny.
She wanted to fuck that Hoskins.
Yes,
she was all about boning Hoskins. Yeah,
Anthony Hoskins. No,
Bob Hoskins.
Is it Bob Hoskins?
Bob Hoskins.
Is it Baskin Robbins?
You know who's supposed to do that role?
Who?
Eddie Murphy.
Really?
And he didn't do it because he was doing Beverly Hills Cop. Which is insider information.
Probably a better movie.
Probably better.
Or I don't know, man. I don't know.
There would have been more of like, hell.
Yeah.
It would have been more clumpy, I think.
Right. Oh, man. Now I'm just thinking about cartoons I'd like to have sex with.
There's quite a few.
There's a lot, man.
So many.
I could, you know what? I could ring in the next new year talking about that.
Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers, all that stuff.
But I digress. First show of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of ended 2019 with a bang, with a blink, if you will.
We did. Well, I was thinking about that today. I wanted to make a little post, and then I decided I'm not going to do that. It was, things that happened 2019, things I'm thankful for. The podcast has grown exponentially.
Oh yeah,
we've had some big guests on this year. We started this fun little project. This little Blink 405 thing. It's going to be a one-off. Became something else. That last show, man, I couldn't think of a better way to close out 2019.
It was great. So we played our second show Saturday, December 28th at the Speakeasy. Thank you to the fine folks at the Speakeasy for hosting us, being gracious enough to share your place with us and letting us throw a show there. So we played with our buddies. I know most people that are listening to this probably listened to the one before, so the aforementioned Tweezer.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of you listeners were there.
Yeah, and it was so cool, man. Like, I felt, just like the last time, just like the first time, I felt really good about the hard work that we put into that performance and trying to kind of invoke this nostalgic feeling and sound, and I thought we did a good job, and it was really nice when we were done playing. We opened the show when we were done playing to get some immediate feedback from people, because the podcast, people listen to it, people comment on the gram, and
they listen to it at their own pace. Where like maybe somebody is only a few episodes deep, or they don't listen to them in sequential order.
I think about that all the time. Somebody came up to me not too long ago and was like, hey, I just started listening to the show, and I started at the first episode, and I just kind of like clenched up. I was just like, I've changed so much since then. Are you even going to like me
The
now?
Show's kind of changed.
Oh, yeah, totally. We become weathered old codgers.
Yeah.
But yeah, the show was great. Thanks to those of you who came or wanted to be there. You were there in spirit.
Thanks to the Tweezer fellas for playing with us. They absolutely ripped.
They were so
they
good.
Always do.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
And so we made some social media accounts for the Blink 405 thing, because we're going to keep doing it. Not all the time. We're not going to wear out our welcome, but we'll do it a few times a year, different locations. But you can look us up on Instagram. It's at Blink.405, so Blink.405.
On the IG.
Twitter is just at Blink405. Facebook is just Facebook.com/Blink405. It's funny, Instagram at Blink405 with no dot is owned by some kid who has like no posts since January 2019.
Are they from Oklahoma?
No. They're from somewhere outside of the United States.
Okay.
I would imagine like Middle East somewhere.
Okay.
Just basic, because I creeped his Instagram.
But like one of those like hasn't not active kind of.
Yes,
thing?
not active. A few followers, a few posts, but nothing crazy. It's not like it's an established account. So I reached out to him through my personal Instagram account at Robbie R. Harris. And I sent a really nice message. I was like, hey man, I'm part of this tribute band. We're trying to get our social media set up for booking and stuff like that. And on every other platform, we got just, Blink 405,
right?
Which I was kind of surprised. And I was like, would there be any way we could have this username, man? It'd mean the world to us. I even thought about like
sweetening the pot a little bit.
Maybe even like dude, I'll send you $20. I'll send you $40, $50.
Yeah.
So I sent him this really nice message, hit send. It's been 4 days now, and he hasn't. There's no read receipt on it, so he's not on.
Yeah, it's probably something he created a while ago and just never.
So what I want to do, this is a personal favor to all the boys fans out there, and you, Josh, and anybody listening. I want you to pull out Instagram, go to Blink 405, not Blink.405. That's us for now, and I want you to report his account.
Oh,
everybody report it
until it's deactivated.
Until they deactivate it, and then we swoop in like a fucking vulture, and we get that bad boy.
I like it. That way everything's just streamlined, all Blink 405.
Listen, I tried to play nice.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
Yeah.
Gloves are coming off.
The
dickies are going on.
Oh, shit.
The gel's going in the hair.
Oh, shit.
The ball chain necklace is going on the neck. It's time to party.
When that Hurley shirt pulls over my head,
That's right.
shit's going down.
I don't know. Maybe. Okay. I'm not saying you guys should do that.
But if you were to do it,
If you hypothetically were to do that, it would almost be like a late Christmas gift to your boy Robbie Ray and your boy Joshua Jack.
a New Year's gift.
So follow us on those accounts if you'd like. We'll probably use Instagram the most. I don't really care about Facebook.
I don't really
use
it a lot.
I think having all of them is redundant, but I feel like it's kind of a necessary evil.
I get for like being in a band, having a Facebook is good for like doing event pages and links to like your music and all that kind of shit.
But I'm such a dickhead, dude. I remember you asked me, should we make an event page for the show? And I was just like, no.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm too good for it.
Are event pages dad? Is it dad?
I don't
Daddy?
know. I don't know if they're dad. If you're going to come, you're going to come. And we promoted it enough. Like, people knew about it.
Right.
A lot of our friends were there. It was awesome to see, like, you know, my sister Miranda and her husband and Colin and his fiance and Mark and Blair and Matt and Kelly and everybody
Roman.
else. Roman.
We got the gang back together.
We got the old gang back together. And that made me super happy.
Yeah.
Saw a bunch of people, you know, that I hadn't seen in a while. And that was great. So
It was a good old time.
as far as the event page goes, I just don't know if it's necessary. Plus, I did a little experiment. I posted about the show the day of the show. And I'm not Mr. Popular on Instagram, but I get a healthy amount of likes. I get enough to feel gratified.
Yeah.
I noticed when I posted that post the day of the show, it got dick for likes. And I think, and maybe this is just my way of thinking, but if somebody else were to post a show flyer for that day and I liked it, maybe it gives them the idea that I'm coming. Like you're almost like indebted, like, all right, like it, be there, see ya.
I'm telling you I'm coming. That's an RSVP.
It's a double tap RSVP of a heart-shaped variety. So maybe that's why it didn't get a lot of likes. Or you know what? Frankly, maybe people were just tired of seeing.
We did put it out a lot.
We did. Hey, somebody's got to.
Somebody's got to do it. I will say this. In 2020, we do have one confirmed show early in the year.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell
there might be a second one.
Might be a second one. For all of our fans who are under 21, all listeners who are under or listeners who are under 21, one of them is an all-ages show. So you can come out, see us, see the band, get some boys merch if you want to get some boys stuff, say hi.
That was another nice thing. You know, we got a nice little payment for playing. We sold some merch, which was dope. Yeah. So to me, it was a win-win.
It was a win.
And we're gonna keep on keeping on. It was fun.
Yeah.
I had a good time. Having said all that, now that that's over and we don't have a show for 2 or 3 months or whatever, it feels really nice to get back to normalcy. Like this Friday, for example, you know, we're off work. It kind of feels nice to not have band practice.
Oh, yeah, to have like your Fridays and Sundays free. Yeah, peek behind the curtain. We practiced 2 days a week, and those were our days off. We practiced. So it kind of took up about 2 hours of your time every day. Yeah,
and I'm totally, you know, not trying to be like, woe is me, because I mean, you know, 3-day weekends are dope. Yes, we pack 40 hours into 4 days.
Sure.
3-day weekends are awesome. I wouldn't want to change that. But when 2 of those 3 days in the weekend are band practice days, and it's not like we just walk into a bedroom and turn on some amps. Like we have to set all of our gear up and, you know, whatever. But it's nice to know that we're going to have like a proper weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Or several of them, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, just thank you guys for coming and listening and supporting us. And we're going to get right to the show. We have a very, very special 2020 introductory episode with our friend CJ Lance, comedian, all-around good guy. But first, some advertisements. BoysPodcast.com. It's a hub of all things boys. There you will find links to our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, as well as that golden donate button. Ring in the new year with a donation to boys. We've had some donations, and I'll tell you what, we're gosh darn thankful for them.
Yeah.
I appreciate that shit more than anything. Like, I got to give a special shout out to Harold Story of the Tunes podcast, which you've been on, I've been on.
Oh, for sure.
He swung by my house the other day and picked up a boy's hat.
What a good guy.
Yeah. And paid for it and everything. You know what? Didn't expect it for free. Didn't expect it at a discounted rate. Handed me a $20 bill. Proudly bought a boy's hat. I Was really happy about that.
Thank you, Harold.
Yes, thank you, Harold. And check out the Tunes podcast. He's a good dude doing a good thing. If you want a place to start, go listen to ours. Go listen to us get really shit-faced and say some terrible things. It was a wonderful time.
It was a great time.
But yeah, just look us up on social media. Give us a follow.
Yeah. Boys is available on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube, and Spotify. On Spotify, search us all one word, Boys Podcast. That's lowercase as well. When you do that, every episode we've ever released will be there. Leave a review on iTunes. Where else can you leave reviews? YouTube?
I guess you could leave a comment.
Comment, I guess. Yeah. Subscribe wherever you can subscribe.
Email us, boys@boyspodcast.com. Send us some feedback and throw your physical address in the bottom of the email. We'll send you out some free stickers. I got to be honest, we're running a little low.
Well, the show, we took some stickers with us, and boy, they go.
Yeah, we gave a lot out at the show. That felt really good. But we do have these brand new bumper stickers that say, I'd rather be listening to Boys Podcast. And we'll send you a couple of those jokers if you send us an email with, thoughts, questions, concerns, criticism, comments, guest ideas, topics.
All of it.
Whatever.
Your poetry.
Send us a picture of your dog. I love dogs.
I love dogs. Dogs are the greatest. Thanks to our sponsors, Anthem Brewing, anthembrewing.com, located at 908 Southwest 4th Street, right here in Oklahoma City. Hop on into that tap room, 2020. Tell them Boys sent you. Try out something on tap. They have Anthem merchandise that's really fucking cool merchandise.
Yeah, they got some nice stuff over there.
So grab a shirt, grab some glassware. I don't know. Fat Bison, fatbison.com. You've heard us talk about him several times. Talk about him a little bit more.
I want to talk about him.
Talk about him.
So my buddy Matt, who was the owner, operator, proprietor of Matt Bison, I said it again.
Matt Bison.
Matt Bison of Fat Bison. He, we got each other a Christmas present, and he made me this computer board, I guess. I don't know what you'd call that. A lap board?
A computer tray.
A computer tray, yes. So as previously discussed ad nauseum on the show, I got that new recliner, and let me tell you, man, that thing is worth its weight in gold. I have sat in that thing. I have napped in that thing. I have fapped in that thing.
You got your money's worth.
And I farted in that thing a lot.
Bare butt cheeks on that seat?
No, I've never bare butt cheeked. And to be honest, I have not fapped in it yet. Yeah. But I will, and I will be bare butt cheeked. Does cum stain leather easily?
Oh no, it wipes right off.
It rolls off like water off a duck's back, right?
That's what I've heard.
He made me this board. It's 36 inches long by about 10 inches deep.
Yeah.
And it's got an engraving on the back and good at it, if you will. On the top, it's got a little lip engraved where if I sat down a pencil or like a fat
nothing's
doobie,
gonna roll off.
Yeah, it's gonna catch on the side there. And I put it across the arms of the recliner when I'm sitting in it, and it's like a little laptop stand.
A little workstation.
It fucking rules. And let me tell you, if you're looking for a good gift for a dad, get him a laptop tray.
Hell yeah,
dude! You can do anything on this tray.
Yeah.
I can paint minis.
Oh, it's a beautiful tray.
It's beautiful.
It looks great.
It's a beautiful piece of wood. It's varnished, so it's going to be durable. It's going to last forever. He inscribed a nice quote on the back.
Yeah.
And man, it was such a cool gift to get, and I use it every single day. And I'll tell you what, I bet if he was to make one of those for you or someone you love, it'd be very affordable.
Very affordable.
So check him out. I just wanted to interject there. Fatbison.com.
Yeah, he makes wooden signs. He makes, judging by this tray, anything. Shoot him an email at fatbison.com. Toss out an idea. He might be able to make a customized thing that you came up with, man, for you and yours.
That's right.
Give the gift of wood in 2020.
Is 2020 the year of the wood? Is your 2000? It is now. Is the 2020th anniversary? Wood is supposed to be the gift. Maybe it is. Fatbison.com.
Champion Vintage, champion_vintage_OKC on Instagram. Give them a like. Give them a follow.
Thank you for the feedback, the donations, and most importantly, the telling of a friend. We couldn't survive. We couldn't keep doing this without word of mouth. Word of mouth is so important for this podcast. After playing this Blink show and seeing how many fans of the show were there, Word of mouth works. Fuck billboards. Fuck magazine
Word
ads.
of mouth.
Word of mouth. Ludacris said it best. Go to sleep, ho. But not until this episode's over.
Make your New Year's resolution to tell more people about boys.
I agree. That's the top of the list of resolutions. I do want to talk about resolutions, but we're going to save it for the show. And without further ado, episode 183 with CJ Lance. Okay, we're here, episode 183 with CJ Lance.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I like the Borat thumbs up.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on this fine first day of a new decade.
I know. I was thinking, I run a comedy show, and I was like, I should have had, we're not having one tonight because it's a holiday, but I was like, I really missed out on the whole like advertising of first of the year and everything.
Oh,
but,
yeah. First show.
That's why we were so excited about doing this episode today. However, I do have to start with a major complaint. It wouldn't be an episode of Boys without me complaining like an old man.
Yeah.
Enough with the Roaring 20s.
Oh, dude.
No offense, but I've seen all these like Instagram teen models because I look at a lot of butts on Instagram, as a man should do.
You said Instagram what model?
Like fitness tees.
Oh, I heard teen.
Me too. I heard T and I thought thoughts, like THOT.
No. Like all those butt girls. The butt girls.
Oh, they're selling teas.
They're always selling like herbal teas that
tea.
give them diarrhea so they stay skinny with big butts swollen from too
Pyramid
much wiping.
scheme.
Yeah. But anyways, I just think it's kind of funny because it's like, dude, it might be roaring, but I think it might be roaring for a different reason. There's a lot of hate in the world today, CJ.
Oh, I had no idea.
Well, you know what? There's a lot of hate in the world in the 1920s as well.
Yeah, probably, arguably more.
Probably more.
Probably.
Weren't we like in the middle of a world war? Or
and at least like directed maybe differently. Oh, maybe not. I don't know. But anyways, we're here. And before we hit record, you said you like to rock your headphones with one ear cup back, DJ style. And it kind of ties into something that Josh and I were talking about yesterday. And so last week, I was trying to devise some real zinger end of the year tweets. Right? I like to tweet. I like to tweet what I think are funny things. The problem with that is a lot of people don't know that I'm joking sometimes. It's got me in trouble. So I tweeted the other night. I said, 2020. The year of the return of the Bloodhound Gang. And I got a lot of replies, and it was like, I don't know about that one, bud. Or, that didn't age well.
Right.
But I got to thinking, and I went down this Bloodhound Gang rabbit hole. And I know you're a little younger than we are, but
So I'm
not familiar.
a follower of Bloodhound Gang.
Okay, well, you shouldn't be.
Not familiar?
Let's just be honest.
Okay.
But you've heard the
I've
hit?
heard, yeah.
The burn, motherfucker, burn. Okay, the roof is
Or
on
the,
fire.
what was the one that he might be familiar with was the
So judged already.
you and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals.
So
let's
yeah.
do it like they do
we do
on
on
the
the...
Discovery Channel.
So,
Yeah.
you
horny
know,
now.
all
Yeah.
songs that are very PC.
Yes, yeah. Well, what's funny is their radio hits are probably the most PC. They have some really...
Yeah.
they have not aged like fine wine.
Real raunchy.
Well, anyways, I made that as a joke on Twitter, and then I got to thinking, and I went down this rabbit hole that night, and I was watching a bunch of like live performances, which they were known for being incredibly bad live,
Okay.
like almost like comedically bad, you know. And I noticed they had a DJ in the band. And when you brought up the DJ headphone thing, it reminded me. I was trying to think of other bands that had DJs in the band. Now, this age gap might be a good thing, CJ, because, you know, I grew up with new metal and grunge and stuff like that. And I'm wondering, did the torch get passed from the new metal era to maybe the next generation of bands with DJs? And I want to say no.
I don't know if anything, the drummer will just run like a laptop or something that'll do whatever they have pre-recorded.
Yeah, like hit a pad or something.
Yeah.
Is the drummer with the samples, is that the new DJ? Because I mean, when we were coming up, you had like Bloodhound Gang, Head PE,
Limp Bizkit,
Incubus,
Linkin Park. We had a list going.
Sugar Ray. So many bands that had DJs. You would think that there would be bands with DJs now,
Slipknot.
or are they all
Slipknot.
DJs?
Slipknot had a DJ.
Slipknot had a DJ?
Yeah, they had a DJ Well, still, they have, since they're a 9-piece band, they got to fill out all the roles.
Yeah.
Right?
So
somebody's got to do
They
something.
have a concessions vendor, refreshments boy on
yeah,
stage.
they literally sell their T-shirts from the stage. No, but they had, singer. Let me go down the knot here. Singer, guitarist,
Slip on down the knot.
bassist. I like it. Let's see. So singer, guitarist, bassist, drummer, sampler player, DJ. That's 9. So they do.
Is that 3 drummers?
They have one main drummer that sits behind a drum kit, and then they have 2 guys that like bang on beer kegs and like the almost like marching band type.
Those,
which is always cool.
Anytime I think about Slipknot, I think about
which is often
being in a band myself, knowing what it takes to become up. So you start jamming with people, and then it becomes, we could start doing this more to play book shows. Slipknot has 9 fucking people. How do you
make money?
Yeah.
Exactly. How do you get it together? I'm assuming it started out with just the meat of the band, where it's like guitar players, drummer, bass player, singer. That's it.
We started off as a 7-piece. Then we had to add those crucial 2 extra drummers.
I think what happened was they practiced at the house of the 2 dudes that ended up becoming the keg bangers, but they weren't musically inclined. They just liked to drink all day, and they had kegs left over from a party. And one guy goes, "Hey, I could be in your band."
Yeah.
He just beats it with the bat, and they go, "Fine."
Well, like keg
sure.
banger number 2 was actually a janitor, and he's like, "I got all these Dickies work suits.
Yeah,
let me in your band."
I think it's like some level it's just about a production value and not really like you watch those bands. Every like folksy band nowadays, the lead singer at some point is going to stop and bang a big drum.
Oh, I hate that.
Thank you, CJ. I was thinking about that too, and I almost, I was getting those year-end tweets, packing them in, getting the laughs, getting the likes, getting the retweets, a few. I wanted to do. Have you ever seen that meme? And I think it's Sasha Grey, but she's like with a bunch of other girls, and she's looking at the camera kind of seductively, and she's like biting her bottom lip, and it says like when he something. Like when he hosts a comedy show, and I wanted to do like when the lead singer pulls out the floor tom, because you're right. Every band now, like I saw even like Charlie Bliss, which is a band I know you love and I enjoy, but they roll out a fucking floor tom now, and I'm like, what does that really add?
Yeah.
And 311 does it too. Self-proclaimed favorite band, oddly enough. They do this whole drum line thing where they wheel out these drums and they all play and they toss their sticks. And it was cool the first time I saw it, but not so cool the 18th time I saw it.
Well, it's one of those things like you can't keep doing that,
right?
Because it loses its luster. It loses that spark. Like Travis Barker does a drum solo every show, but he amps it up every tour. He's not doing the same thing.
No, he's doing like the Tommy Lee upside down shit now.
Yeah, and you got to.
Pretty dope.
You got to. Tommy Lee's the last Motley Crue tour had a thing that it was like a roller coaster that took him out to the middle of the crowd. Like,
well, speaking of Slipknot, the last time I saw them, I've seen them 3 times, and it was back when Joey Jordison was still the drummer, before Max Weinberg's son, who drums for them now, which funny. I think is weird. He had a drum solo, and when he was doing his drum solo, his drum set was mounted to this big round drum riser. It like lifted up. So like imagine if you just like leaned forward. That's what happened.
Like a 90-degree angle?
Yeah, 90-degree angle. And then this huge pentagram lit up on the, or maybe it was this, I think the Slipknot, one of their symbols is kind of like a 9-pointed
weird,
pentagram.
Yeah, that weird like, yeah.
The sun?
Yeah, exactly. The sun. It's an asterisk.
Real into astrology, man.
But yeah, that happened, and then it lit up this Slipknot pentagram, and then it started turning. And he was like doing his drum solo. And what was funny is I noticed he was strapped into what was basically like a race car seat.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't fall out. And did his solo, and I'm like, that has to be pretty tough. I'm not a drummer. Are you a drummer? Okay.
No.
Josh is a drummer.
Well, fighting against gravity.
Exactly. Like, that's got to be tough.
Anytime I see those kind of solos, though, I immediately think of the movie Airheads, where Adam Sandler's like, I want to have my drum set go underwater so I can do a drum solo. Like, you can't play drums underwater.
Yeah.
The best.
I don't know. I think it's tough, but I think even like the pop singers and whatnot that do crazy stuff, because as a drummer, like you're not you don't have to keep your breathing and your vocals like even.
Right.
But I couldn't imagine being like Katy Perry or Madonna or whatever, like flying over a stadium or something and trying to sing a song.
Yeah,
absolutely.
With my heart racing.
Yeah.
No
well, I'll
way.
tell you this much, man. I know you were at the Blink show the other night, the Blink 405 show.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm 38 years old. I'm gonna be 39 years old in a month and a half.
That's weird.
I know, dude. Well, it's so funny. I'm gonna digress for a second. I remember being a kid and my grandparents' friends having their 40th birthday party, and the whole theme was the whole over the hill, and it was all black balloons and no black people, but black cake, black streamers, everything.
The cane that has the mirror on the bottom of it.
Yeah. And now I'm almost 40, and it's number one, it's terrifying. I hope I get over this. Lay in bed at night wondering how many years I have left.
Yeah.
Is that the big fear? Is that just going to get worse? Like when I'm 50?
Well, they say time.
Or do I get over
time
it?
goes faster, and I'm gonna say it because this is the first day of the new year. 2019 just happened. You know, they do that. Instagram does that thing, or Facebook does like, here's your year in review.
Yeah.
And it showed a picture of my birthday dinner. My birthday's January 25th. It's a few short days away.
Hint, hint.
And the picture, I'm like, I literally felt like that just happened. And it's just gonna keep getting more and more.
It does
I get that
up,
nighttime
man.
fear.
Yeah.
A lot.
And it's not because, like, I don't know, I'm not a very religious guy, so it's nothing that, it's just like not existing is what's fucked me up.
Yeah.
The
But
thought of not existing anymore.
But I think the band Fish said it best, like, death only hurts for a little bit. Because, you know, you fear death, and I don't know if you personally do, but I kind of fear not existing.
It's weird.
I like my things. I have a lot of things. I like my things. I like my people. But, you know, once it happens, man, who gives a fuck? You're dead.
You're gone.
Yeah.
You can't be like, no, I'm not dead. Like, oh, stop dying. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, with medical science these days.
head in a jar. Like, head in a jar, man.
Well,
They
that's
got Ricky
something-
Bobby. They put a pig's heart in a man's body.
Yes.
He didn't live, but they did it.
But they did it. Yeah, that's man.
I'm hoping I hit a point. My point being, I hope I hit a point where I'm that old man that doesn't give a fuck. Like you see those old men sometimes, like in the grocery store, and they're just like farting and walking and being
they
weird
don't care.
and
they
creepy.
talk about death. Like my dad talks about it, not in like the fear of death. He's totally cool with it. He's like, well, you know, don't know how many more years I got left.
That ain't
I'm like,
good
you're
coming from your old
totally
man.
fine with that? Yeah. So wherever I go. I'm like, jeez, Dad.
My dad does that. I've noticed it's kind of amped up in the last few years. He's 50. Let's see, he was born in 58, so he's 62.
And my dad will be 70 this year.
Dang.
Wow.
And you know that's a weird.
My dad's not even 50 yet.
That's nuts.
Dude, well, what's funny
He's gonna
is
live forever.
yeah. Well, dude, that's a spring chicken, man. It's funny because I'm 10 years older than my girlfriend, and her parents are only 10 years older than me. So like me and her father, we get along great.
You guys have more in common.
We both play Diablo. Like that's sick. We both are into guns and Diablo.
Went to the same shows in the 90s.
He loves No Doubt. Oddly enough, you're wearing a No Doubt t-shirt right now, but he loves a lot of the same music that I like listen to.
That's weird.
And you know, yeah, he's 10 years older than me, or 11 or so. But it's like, it's kind of dope because we always have something to talk about.
Sure.
He's like, and what's cool about her dad is like, he's also very young at heart. So like, I'm kind of an old man for my age, and he's kind of young at heart. So we meet right in the middle.
Meet in the middle.
It's wonderful.
It's a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
Or not heaven. If you
in hell, in the pit at the
well,
Slipknot
you
concert.
said you're not religious. So.
Right. Yeah. It's floating in this
In the
weird,
ether.
yes, the astral plane somewhere. So yeah, it is New Year's Day. So CJ, I wanted to ask, what are your you have any resolutions this year? You're not a resolution kind of guy?
No, because I just
could you make one up for me?
I'm like a big grand schemer or whatever. Like I'll do this, and then I can start doing this, and then I'll learn a whole new language or do whatever. Then I get like 3 steps into it and quit.
I feel you.
So I don't make resolutions. I guess I've started trying to have some goals because I'm 26, so I'm still pretty young, but I feel like an urge to, I don't know, progress, I guess.
Do more?
I do comedy, and I've been doing it for 5 years, and so it's like, am I just going to kind of open mic around Oklahoma City my whole life or try and do anything with this?
Right.
Well, you host the Divine Comedy Show.
Yeah. And I like doing that and whatnot. I want to start like getting out, like touring. So I set some goals as far as like, I'd say like at least once a month or once every other month. I'd like to do a weekend in another city, like just book a show or two somewhere that's within like 6-hour drive that I can get to.
A weekend warrior type deal.
Yeah,
you know?
just doing that every now and then, making some networking and connections and whatnot. And then writing, like doing sketches and things like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Now you were part of the SNL show, the Speakeasy, right?
Yeah, that was a really fun show.
It was so much fun, dude.
A lot of fun.
I don't know if we've talked about it on the show, but a little peek behind the curtain here. And sorry if we've repeated this. It's that age showing again. I can't remember what I said 5 minutes ago. So my girlfriend's dad is really cool. He loves you know, we did the Wayne's World skit to close out the show, and to be totally honest, man, Josh and I almost like bailed on it.
Really?
Like an hour before the show.
We were. I was crazy. I was sitting on my couch with like panic attack.
Josh had the
anxiety.
nervous shits.
That's
like you guys were like nervous.
We were so nervous because we made our board. We bought the get-ups. We rehearsed. We wrote. You know, we used Google Docs to like write out our skit. Like we were trying to be as professional as possible. Unlike on this show,
way to call it a skit. Very professional.
Very right. Yes. Sketches.
Sketch.
But yeah, I would say about 3 hours before we were supposed to be there, we both just started to get like shaking in your shoes, nervous. Like, it's not going to be funny.
People aren't going to like it.
The jokes aren't going to go over. People are too woke these days. Like, if we do schwing, we're going to get canceled.
Right.
You know? Like, we can't even schwing.
Yeah.
What's Wayne's World without a schwing?
Well, I thought it was fantastic. It was, I think, my favorite part of the show.
Oh, man, thank you so much.
I like y'all. Did you write the sketch?
I did. I wrote that. It was my first sketch to ever perform live. Or
it was great, man.
To have written to be performed live. So I was kind of going through the same thing, like really nervous. I was going to have some comedian friends be in it, and then they couldn't make the rehearsal. And so I was like, well, I guess me and my wife can be in it.
Yeah.
And so... and like she's done 8th grade theater, she's Into the Woods and things like that, like back in the day, but nothing recently. And so we were both pretty nervous, and I don't know, it went over all right. It didn't bomb, so
no, it didn't at all.
But yeah, very much I was like, let's see what really hits in a live audience.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. So you said you want to a resolution is to write more sketches and stuff. So is that something you want to do? Like, do you want to do like YouTube?
I would love
video sketches?
Are you guys familiar with I Think You Should Leave?
Yeah.
I don't think
Netflix.
Man. Yeah, on Netflix. Tim Robinson.
He was on SNL before. He was a writer on SNL, and then was a player. But he's got this sketch show. It's on Netflix. So far, it's only like the one season.
Yeah.
But it's like Mr. Show meets Tim and Eric. It's
like the premise of every sketch is a character who's so over the top that you could say to them, I think you should leave, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like the pinnacle of comedy for me right now, like sketch comedy.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
So I need to watch this.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
need to watch it. It's really
but
good.
I think with like all these different platforms and whatnot, there's more opportunity to do kind of weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's always been some shows, but like it was all through like Comedy Central or whatever.
Right.
And so now...
But now you have YouTube, man.
Yeah,
you know?
and so... I'm actually part of like a sketch group called Okie Show. They have like a podcast here and whatnot too. And so they produce things and whatnot. They film. They're all like in the film industry. That's where my hang up is. I have no like filming equipment or skill or anything. I don't know. I like to write, and I like the idea of writing for film more than live, because you can manipulate it a lot more.
Oh yeah.
I really enjoy the like
a little
the
more
idea of,
freedom.
like a quick cut to something, and like it really picks up.
With filming something, like that's the joke. Like if you do something live, it wouldn't really translate. You couldn't really do a Tim and Eric thing live because it's those hard cuts that amplify the joke, or that is the joke.
There's like so much of it is attributed to the editing just as much as it is the content and the lines, you know.
Yeah, which is what's frustrating for me because I don't have any of those skills.
Dude, when I was a kid, I wanted so bad for Christmas every year. I asked for a video camera because I wanted to make my own. I was obsessed with SNL. I wanted to make sketches. Like I wanted to do that and film it with my friends and write it. And I wrote all these really dumb, hacky.
But at the time, they were gold.
Oh, they
you
were
know?
real
You gotta
gold.
start somewhere. Yeah.
You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
And I never did it. And I never got professional-esque video equipment. But to this day, I would love to do a sketch comedy, like something I would. But again, the nerves kick in. Like, is anybody gonna like it? Am I even funny? Does my humor translate?
Especially with film, I just recently got the first sketch that I ever wrote and like got filmed all the way through by our group, released like in December, and I feel like it's a little bit hacky. It's a fake car commercial for like the Christmas gift where it's always like a husband bought his wife a car.
I saw you put, so that was you?
Yeah,
the big bow.
Yeah.
So
that was
I
hilarious.
wrote that. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, I like that.
But yeah, like through the editing process, you watch it so many times and you see and I'm like, was it funny ever? Like,
yeah.
Well, that's what happens, man, when you do, because I do video editing for work, and when I'm shooting something, I'm like, oh, we got a hit, baby.
Yeah.
You know, and then when you're editing and you're watching the same thing 30, 40 times.
You start seeing the cracks.
You start seeing the cracks.
Did we hit it?
Yes. And nobody else will ever see those cracks, but you sure as shit see them.
Yeah.
And that's what matters in the moment. But I've had to learn throughout the years to kind of just let go and let God.
Right.
You know, as they say, just do it to the best of your abilities and don't point out your flaws, because nobody else, well, not maybe one person, the person that would leave a comment would see
For
it,
sure,
you know.
yeah,
But
yeah.
you know, you just got to do it, man. And I think that's a great thing.
Wasn't that like stand up too? Like I've always wanted to do stand up, but never did it. I've been asked several times to go do an open mic. Like, but you tell the same jokes over and over and over. And I'm sure there's times where you're like,
yeah,
this joke isn't funny to me anymore, but it's still getting laughs. She's like, I hate this joke.
Yeah,
That's,
You know what I mean?
that's the interesting thing about stand-up. Like I had aspirations to do stand-up, and I did 2 performances many years ago. First one went great. It was the best that a first performance could have went.
Okay.
And I walked off the stage, and I just felt on top of the world, and I thought, here's a new path to travel.
Yep.
Quitting my job tomorrow. No, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you're on top of the world. You feel good. The second one could have not gone worse. And I
it
was
could have gone worse.
I
Unless did anyone assault you?
No, I didn't get. I didn't.
Has that happened to you?
Not to me personally, no. But there are videos out there of people just like throwing lit candles from a comedy club.
Someone
or a
hated
beer
you
bottle.
so much.
Yeah,
You have to really offend someone
I mean,
or really suck.
I forget
Yeah.
there's a really famous one. The comic's not super famous, but he got mad at someone in the audience. He was playing a guitar. He just took it by the neck and hit the guy in the audience.
Whoa.
So kind of going the opposite way, but
Right.
still a rough show.
I would say that would go down as a rough show. I'm gonna put that in the rough show column.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, I wanted to do it, and then I realized I was like, you know, I like to be funny, but this is not what I'm cut out for.
Yeah, it's very different to be funny with people versus being funny on purpose, like
Yes.
and for people.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It definitely, because I've been doing it long enough now where I've got jokes that I've been telling like for 4 years. I don't tell them every time I do stand up, but I'm like, oh, that joke's one of my best jokes, but it's like 4 years old. Why am I not funny enough to think of something new? But that's how it goes. I mean, there's like kind of a stereotype or whatever that a comic's first album is a good chance like their best, or it's kind of going to be a peak because it's the one that they've been holding on to for the 8 years that they've been grinding to get to an album that you're going to hear about.
Same thing with bands.
yeah.
Yeah, the band's first record's great because they had all that time to get in a garage and bang it out. And, you know, this is 10, 20 years of work that we put into this thing. And that's why there's the sophomore slumps, because it's like, all right, that was a hit. Give us another one in 2 months. Wait, what?
Yeah, rebottle that.
Yeah, you can't always do that.
What made you want to start to do comedy?
Honestly, like a lot of comics grew up like idolizing comedy. I don't think the first comedian I ever saw was Dane Cook on like MTV.
The Cookie Man.
Yeah.
And I was like, this guy is awful. Like it put such a like sour taste for stand up. But I've always liked humor. I've always been the kid everyone's like, you're so funny, it never changed.
You should do stand up.
Yeah, like stuff like that. And so really what pushed me over the edge, like I kind of been curious about it, and then I watched a season of Last Comic Standing, and I was like, these people are doing this. Like, and it's such an arrogant thing as comedians can be. Like, if they can do that, I could do that. Probably even better than what they're doing.
Yeah, you're just talking into a microphone, not realizing that, well, this thing that they said that sounds like it's just coming off the top of their head, they've been working on and saying for the past
it's
5 years.
Every drunk guy in a bar who's like, oh, I'm really funny, I should do it too.
Yeah. Oh, I bet you see a lot of that with open mics.
Yeah. But so I watched the season and I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And then also, partly I had the only place I knew that was doing comedy in Oklahoma City at the time was the Looney Bin. And so I had to wait until I was 21.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
And so I turned 21. I did an open mic there. It went so mediocre, but I didn't like hate myself afterwards, so that was good.
Right.
And then I probably waited like 4 or 5 months, did an open mic down in Norman at Othello's, and then another like 4 or so months. And I consider officially December of 2014 is when I started, because I went to Matt Rainey, who's a great local comic, he ran back then Public Access open mic.
Was that the one that was at in the Plaza?
It was at what was that coffee shop? Whatever. It was a coffee shop in a church, and now it's at the Paramount Room.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and so that was like, it's really just a home for weird people. Like, like everyone's like, oh, comedians are weird, but like Public Access is the home for those it's the starting grounds.
Wayne, our buddy Wayne, did a couple of open mics, and we would go and like, it was definitely a different breed of comedian, different breed of comedy.
Yeah, it's very alt comedy.
Yeah.
And, but it's a good time. And so I started doing that one like every week. And that's when I consider like I actually started caring and trying and whatnot. But it was kind of helpful because during that, like, I don't know, 8 months before I really started, I was still writing jokes. And it's like I had a bunch of stuff to start saying rather than just trying to figure it out like at an open mic and being new and terrible.
That's what a lot of people don't understand. And I'm not saying that from like looking down on it, because I can't do it either, but how important, timing and not just what you're saying, but how you're delivering it and not rushing. I mean, it's similar with podcasting. We've been doing this a long time now. I got into wanting to do podcasting because I grew up listening to Howard Stern and Ron and Fez and Opie and Anthony, and I just loved talk radio. And this was back in like the shock jock days where it's like, oh, let's shove cherries up a stripper's butt.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Which in retrospect, it's pretty cool. It hasn't aged well. But
Carmen Electra's going to ride the Sibian.
Yes, exactly.
Like, oh, boy.
But, and we're going to make fun of like mentally handicapped people and, whatever, homeless people. But I did love it. It was a different time back then. But I did love it, and I did a podcast before this one with another friend of mine, and those first 10 or so were just rough. Like I still have them all on a hard drive. Now this was like 10 years ago, so it was a very different time. It was before the rise of woke culture. So when that old podcast was done, I think we did 104 episodes. I scrubbed it from the internet. Took it off of SoundCloud, took it off of YouTube, took it off of iTunes, because I was like, I don't want somebody to hear this one and go back and listen to that. And I was drinking a lot back then, and it was like being vulgar was like a little bit more acceptable and funny back then, I guess, at least to us. But yeah, I fucking scrubbed that from the net. But now that, we're on our 183rd episode, it's like, we have a lot of growth left ahead of us. I'm not saying we're like the best or anything, but this is what I like to do.
Right on.
I pretty much quit playing music. We do the Blink thing for fun, but
I couldn't imagine doing a full set for fun. Like seems like so much work that you guys put into.
Well, dude, that's what I was gonna. I kind of got sidetracked earlier, but we were talking about the Madonna or the Britney Spears. I'm 39, almost 39 years old, doing that set on Saturday. So, but let me backtrack a little bit. So Saturday morning, me and the old lady wake up, and we're just like lounging around the house because, I'm old, and I'm like, I got to save my energy for tonight. So I don't want to like go do yard work or, whatever.
Right.
But then around noon, I was like, man, I'm kind of feeling lazy. I was like, I'm going to go to the gym. So I went to the gym, and I don't lift weights. I know it looks like I do, but I don't lift weights. But I go get on the treadmill or the elliptical or something and just get the heart rate up for a little while, break a sweat. So I went to the gym, and I ran, and by run I mean walk 2 miles, brisk walk, 2 miles.
A mall walk.
Yes. Take a shower at the gym because, hey, free shower brings my water bill down. Really cool. A lot of gay sex going on, too, so that's a bonus. Come home.
A foot under the stall action.
The two taps on the shower door. But I come home, take a nap, get ready for the show, play the show. I felt like we played a lot better our second show because we had one under our belts. We were a little more confident. We were a little more practiced. Good crowd, good sound, all that good stuff. The next morning, I wake up so fucking sore. Like my legs, my butt, my ankles, my wrists totally felt like death run over.
Yeah.
And I thought, was it because I went to the gym and did the show, or is it truly because I'm almost 39 years old and I was jumping around like a dumb kid, you know?
I think it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Column A, column B. Because I felt we played over an hour.
We played 21 songs
straight. Like Lacey Lane came up after her and she's like, I can't believe you guys played. That's such a long set. How did you do it? I'm like, how long? Oh shit, I guess we did. And that is the longest set I've ever played.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
And man, I'll say this. I'm kind of a sweaty guy. I'll speak for myself here. I don't know about you guys.
I'm a sweaty guy.
I'm just naturally kind of a sweaty dude. I don't stink, which is cool. I know they say you can't smell yourself, but I don't think I'm like a really smelly like hippie dude or anything, but I do sweat a lot. When I'm playing these shows, like I am drenched, like swimming in my underwear.
I noticed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just so sweaty and like had to drink a lot of water the next day because I just felt really depleted. But yeah, it is tough, man. And it's like, if I did that, like let's say we did that 3 or 4 times a week, I'd probably get used to it and I'd probably get in even better shape.
Yeah.
But man, it's harder the older you get. But I think stand up is hard too. Like you're under lights, you're nervous, you're trying to do just right. Now, it's not like you're up there pumping iron.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like physically exhausting unless you're like Aziz Ansari, maybe.
Right.
Like jumping around.
Yeah.
Or like Gallagher.
I was gonna say, yeah, it takes a lot to smash that fruit.
But I mean, you're up there for like, you know, thinking about playing a show for an hour, like putting it into the context of telling jokes for an hour.
Yeah, it's
a long time.
And then you got to wrap it all around and make the story arc all like it's got to be a thing. Like doing a 5-minute spot's one thing, 10 minutes. But jeez,
I've never done an hour, so
what's the longest you've done?
Like 30-ish, 40-ish minutes.
But 40 minutes of standing up there with a microphone.
None of them have been great.
It's eternity.
There now.
Probably get 15 in there.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'd say like 15 to 20 is where I'd feel pretty confident. But yeah, it's like, it's a different thing. Like everyone, well, not everyone, but like you would think like, okay, well, I've got 45 minutes of jokes, so surely I can just do 45 minutes. But it's a different energy that you have to keep up for 45 minutes.
Right.
Not
you gotta
3 15-minute sets.
Right.
Yeah, you got to have like a commonality, a theme between the jokes. You can't just go like, so airplanes are crazy, right? And then they're like, yeah, and my girlfriend, I tell you what, like, no, it's got to blend in together somehow.
It's an art. It's an art.
Can't just go from like joke to joke to joke to joke to joke.
Yeah. So are you from Oklahoma?
More or less. I was born in Virginia. My dad was in the military, but I've lived here since I was 4. So
okay.
Pretty much,
essentially.
Yes.
So what are your thoughts? I like to ask people who are basically born and raised here. I've lived here most of my life, as has we've moved around a little bit, but I've always came back here, and I like to get kind of a reading on what are your thoughts of Oklahoma and how it's changed in the last, like, let's say 10 years or so, because I feel like it has changed a lot in 10, 15 years or so.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I guess I wasn't like, because 10 years ago I was 16, and so it wasn't like I was politically involved or like anything like that. But we're starting to get an appreciation for like art and culture a little bit. It's still really hard to get people to like go to things and do them. There's like a community that is really supportive, but the average person is still like, I'm an Okie and I'm going to stay at home and watch OU or OSU or whatever.
Right. I'm going to go to Applebee's on Friday night.
Yeah.
You know?
I couldn't tell you how many times when I was in my last band and we'd play a show, got to wait for that Thunder game to be over because nobody's going to give a fuck until that buzzer rings and whether we win or lose. And then if we lost, especially back when I don't want to say in our prime. I don't know if you're really into basketball. I am.
We used to be better.
I will say this. I feel like the team this year is fun to watch because there's not that weight of we have all these badass players and why aren't we winning a champ? It's like now it's just like, okay, we're gonna go about 0.5, 50, whatever, 500. It is a fun season to watch this year, but I do miss when we had like Harden and Durant and Westbrook and Ibaka.
Solid lineup.
Yeah, but I remember like we'd be setting up our gear, And even if we like sound checked like real quick, people would like give you the stink eye because they love their OU football, OSU football, and Thunder basketball.
Yeah, anytime you play a show at the Blue Note, it's like, no sound check.
And then if they lost, your crowd's like kind of shitty because they're in a bad mood.
But if they won, boy, does that amp your setup a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Party
You
time.
just keep saying, hey, Thunder, right, guys? Woo, yeah, all right.
It's pandering.
Well, it's funny you say that we're getting culture, and in a way we are, where there's more venues, a lot more I think our culture is becoming alcoholism, really. But like...
And coffee.
When Robbie and I were coming up, like when we were 16, it felt like there's more things to do, more community. There's the Christian rock and roll, punk rock, hardcore, whatever scene was exploding. So there was like 6 different venues you can go to, coffee shops, all that kind of stuff. And I feel like that kind of died out real quick. So you're a Christian man.
Yes,
So
indeed.
you grew up, your Christian scene, was there a Christian scene at all?
I mean, I'm sure there was. I don't know. I grew up like really practical, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
My family didn't have a ton of money. My dad like lost his job whenever I was like in 8th grade, and like went back to college and whatnot. So I guess went to college for the first time. Didn't go back.
My dad did that too at
Back
a
for
late
the
age.
first time.
Yeah.
Did he go to Rose State?
He started at Rose State, and
That's
then he
what
went
my
to
dad did.
UCO. Yeah. And now he's a teacher. But so like we grew up like through like my teen years and whatnot. I didn't have like a bunch of financial backing, I guess, from parents, and so I worked and then just like saw the way my parents struggled and was like, I'm just gonna save all. I'm not gonna go to that concert with my friends, or I'm not gonna go do that.
Yeah,
like
$20 I could save.
Yeah. And so which helped, but also I don't know. It kept me uncultured, I guess, a little bit. So I don't know that there was like a huge local scene. I think it was still a really big deal. Like that was like anytime like Under Oath or whatever.
Right.
Like it was the thing to go do. Or what's the one that I kind of hate? Starts with a Skillet.
Skillet.
Oh, yeah.
Like they like came through on like a winter jam, and that was like the big. They had like fire on stage. And
Yeah.
Christian kids are like, whoa.
You see
They're
that?
scared of it.
I think that's what it came to. Like when we were 16, whatever, those bands would come through occasionally, but it was still more of like a DIY. Like POD would play a really small venue, or punk rock bands would always play small venues.
I opened for them. So there. My very first band.
Nice.
Yeah.
Open for POD
On the New Year's Eve lock-in at some...
Youth of the Nation.
Dude. So I Feel So Alive. In fact, it was
that
before that came out.
Really?
They
on
were...
the Brown album, right?
No, it was
Back when Katy
Southtown.
Perry was with them?
Southtown. I don't know. Did she play with them?
She sang in
Yeah.
Alive.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
I
she was
didn't
part
know.
of their band for a while.
Really?
Yeah, on their tour. It was
No.
really weird.
So my very first band I was ever in, I started playing guitar when I was about 14 years old. And I played for about a year and a half in my bedroom, just learning power chords, basically. And speaking of Christian stuff, I was at this Christian coffee shop in Midwest City, and they had a little poster bulletin board. And it was like, looking for a rhythm guitarist.
One of those peel-off thing, take the number.
Wow.
Yeah, well, there
Classic.
were none taken. So I thought I had a real good shot.
Good shot.
Yeah,
Good chance.
In fact, I think I ripped them all off. To just,
It's mine.
Yeah. So I ripped a number off, and I called this guy up, and it's a guy named Tracy, and he's like, yeah, I do this Christian hardcore band, and we're looking for a second guitar player. It's just been the 3 of us for a while, and we want a second guitar player. And I was like, well, I'm only 16. And he was like in his 20s, so I was like the baby of the band, and I knew enough guitar to play in a hardcore band, which isn't really a lot, So I started playing with them, and he had some connections in the what Josh was describing as kind of a big DIY Christian punk and metal scene in the late 90s.
Just so weird because it was Midwest City, Shawnee, Norman, Tulsa, like
Edmond, Moore.
Yeah, all these.
Yeah.
And there's pockets of these scenes that kind of melded together. It's so weird.
It was a lot of coffee
it just
shops.
died away. Yeah.
I feel like
coffee shops. Some were actual coffee shops. Some were just like this church put out some coffee.
Yeah,
and
for
it was
sure.
the pre-Keurig days, so it was like the pump pots from
Yeah.
like Barnes and Noble or whatever, half price books.
I
But
love a good
I feel
Christian
like
coffee.
I don't, and not with zero research being done, but just pure speculation. It seems like maybe it not like it morphed into, like, it became so popular that then it just became, because like my generation, like Under Oath was like, that's like what the Christian kids are into. We're heavy, like Demon Hunter and
I
Under
love
Oath.
Demon Hunter, dude.
Maybe you're right.
Them.
I think that's what it was, because a lot of the bands that we would go to these small shows to see, some of them got swooped up by major labels.
Yeah.
And they were crossover, like POD blew up with that Satellite, MXPX blew up, like all these bands, and that became mainstream. So then the local scene transitions into a different thing. Like
I feel like it was every church was like, we got to have a skate park. We got to be like accommodating to skateboard.
I remember when that was a thing. Yeah, when that started happening, like Life Church put a big skate park in their parking lot and stuff.
It's funny. Speaking of Demon Hunter, so I joined that band. They were called Lockdown. That was the name of the band, which is very Christian hardcore sounding.
Playing at Lock-In.
Yes, Lockdown at the Lock-In.
Oh boy, I'm sure that was on a flyer.
I love it. I wish I could go back in time. So we opened for POD, and then we also opened for this band who, to this day, is one of my favorite bands. It was a Christian hardcore band called Training for Utopia.
Okay.
And they're really chaotic, noisy, really weird. And they were kind of one of those like Christians in a band, rather than they didn't preach on stage or anything, but they were good guys. But the singer was a guy named Ryan Clark, and his brother was another Clark, and Ryan Clark went on to be the singer of Demon Hunter.
Okay.
So I kind of got to play with Demon Hunter,
nice.
like their band before Demon
a
Hunter.
roundabout way.
Yeah,
I like Demon Hunter turned into Knives, right? Is that their new thing now?
I don't know.
I think it sounds like the leads, and not. I liked Demon Hunter, but I cannot stand Knives.
Okay.
If they're the same. If we can't fact check, well.
Demon Hunter's funny though, dude.
Everyone research.
Yes, look it up. Pull it up. Demon Hunter's interesting because to this day I have a soft spot for Christian metal.
Yeah.
Because I
think a lot of people do.
Dude, I grew up listening to that stuff, and like I was raised in a pretty, I wouldn't say a strict Christian household, but we were a Christian household. I had to go to church every Sunday, every Wednesday until I turned 16. I learned guitar because I started playing in my praise and worship group at the church and for the youth group. And if it wasn't for all of that and the Christian coffee shop scene and the Christian punk band, I would not know how to play guitar. And I wouldn't have had like these opportunities or whatever. So I'm very thankful for that. Also, I feel like it really kept me out of trouble when I was like from 16 to 20. Because I wasn't drinking, we might have shared a cigarette in the parking lot or something, or I might have touched a boob or something, but I wasn't like breaking the law or vandalizing things or being crazy. I forgot where I was going, but
well, it gave you like a sense of a morality. I think inherently everyone knows the difference in right and wrong. I think growing up Christian and going to youth group, and you get a sense of camaraderie with people.
Fellowship.
Fellowship, man.
Only in the fellowship hall.
Only that's where we do the fellowship in the fellowship hall.
That's where you get your Hydrox and your Kool-Aid.
Oh boy, Hydrox and Kool-Aid. A lot of afterglows. What were those potluck dinners?
And then there was like vacation
chili cook-off,
vacation Bible school, trunk or treat.
Trunk or treat.
Got an Easter play coming up.
There's a lot of nice things about it. I always said if I had a kid, I would probably, if they wanted to go, I would go ahead.
I kind of have talked about that with Kate. Kate's not religious. Her family's not overtly religious or anything. I think maybe some of her like older family is, but I kind of have started to feel that pull again lately.
Yeah.
Like I'm not an atheist. I don't. I guess agnostic is the word. Like I cannot denounce God.
Yeah.
But I grew up in it for so long, and then I got so out of it, and I was considered I consider myself an atheist for a while, but I've always felt this like pull, like, dude, don't denounce. Like just
that's the one. That's the cardinal rule.
That's the one, man. That's the burning in hell one right there.
But here's the thing. It doesn't really specify what that means, so who knows?
I don't know, man. But I've thought about it. I was like, I've got a little one now, and I'm like, kind of a good excuse to like go to a church and just like sit in the back, see what it's all about. Let her go to the Sunday school and color and whatever they do.
Dude,
for 5-year-olds.
I wanted so badly to go to a Christmas Eve service because they're not. It's never a preachy thing.
Right.
It's always I love candlelit service. Did you go to a Christmas Eve candlelit service or
not
anything?
This, our church doesn't. Our church intentionally doesn't do one because they want people to go do it with other people, essentially. But we didn't. We had Christmas Eve dinner at our house.
There you go. Hey,
so
fellowship.
it's fellowship. There were candles on the table, but
I like those Christmas Eve ones because it's it's stuff you see in the secular public, like songs about Jesus, the classic hymns and the tale.
And just giving thanks and like appreciating the moment.
But being in that the building, it's like we wanted to go to that super cool that church on Western and like 25th or something. That cathedral looking.
Oh yeah.
Like it'd be so cool to go in that one and do it because it's a beautiful church.
Well, see, I'm wondering. There's so many churches in Oklahoma. And especially, Josh and I are both from Choctaw, and there is a church on every street corner.
Yeah.
Every mile, there's a church.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the street that I grew up on, if you went out of our little neighborhood addition, and there's the corner of Choctaw and Reno, there were 3 churches. 3 churches and a lot that a church was being built on. So there was a church, a denomination on every corner.
So weird.
Yeah.
So weird.
And I was raised Baptist. My grandma was evangelical, so it was like the laying of hands, speaking in tongues,
cartwheels in the aisles.
And I grew up going to church camp every summer. I loved it. I really enjoyed it. But it was kids speaking in tongues, and looking back, I'm like, and I'm not trying to make fun of that or anything. You hear me? Hear me up there, big man? But it freaks me out. You know?
I think a lot of people that I've talked to, especially in Oklahoma, because there's a lot of people that are in that same boat. And so, like, it's weird being a Christian who's a comedian, because it seems like the antithesis, almost like to poke holes in things and make fun of it.
Yeah.
But you're not like what's that, dry bar comedy kind of?
No.
You're not like a Christian comedian.
They put a lot of people on dry bar comedy that are not Christian comedians. But
really?
it's dry bar's like clean, but there are a lot of Christians too. No, I'd fall into like that band category who's like, I'm a comedian and I'm also a Christian.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So you're not
like a Norm Macdonald or
I don't need to be like making, Baptists are like this.
Right.
And am I right, Methodist Church? Like, come on out on Sunday.
Now, are you familiar with the Christian comedian Mike Warnicki?
I don't know that name.
I'm gonna send you a link, brother.
Okay.
And I mean, brother in Christ, you're gonna love it. You're gonna thank me. He was a Christian comedian from the 80s.
Okay, that's probably why.
Yeah. I didn't discover him until a few years ago through YouTube. A buddy of mine had his VHS that he found at a thrift store, and he digitized it and he put it on YouTube, and it's got like hundreds of thousands of views now.
Yeah.
Is it bad?
He's like the Christian Gallagher sans fruit.
Oh boy!
No.
I thought you were gonna say Mark Lowry,
just
who's the
communion.
Christian.
He straight up uses the drive on parkways and park on driveways joke from Gallagher, and he has this mullet. And he talks about how crazy he looks. He's got a dangly earring. It was the 80s back then. But, dude, I'm going to send you this link.
Okay.
And just
yeah, for sure.
Skim through it. Just humor me. You're going to love it, though, because it's so bad, it's kind of good.
That's kind of why I stray away from, like, trying to label myself in that, because it's just, I don't know, it doesn't seem entirely necessary for me to do what I'm going to do and be like the Bible's really incorporated into my material or something.
Right. No altar calls at the end.
Yeah, but like back to what we were talking about with like church camps and speaking in tongues and stuff. Mm-hmm. I've been in church my entire life. I have never seen anybody speak in tongues, and so I find that so interesting because like a lot of people that I meet who are like kind of turned off by it, it seems like they were in these super evangelical, and I'm not saying like that's not true or not possible.
God,
Well, but I'm just saying like I think there's like a time and a place, and I think people misuse that or mistreat that a lot, especially in those evangelical settings where it's like super strict and rigorous. Mm-hmm. And again, not that that's, I think it can be good. Like my pastor now, he grew up that way and has since left it, but there's a lot of things that he's like, I am grateful for that because I have like a great respect and commitment to like reading the Bible and like all that kind of stuff. When a lot of people, it's super hard to be like, I'm going to sit down and read this book that's really confusing.
I would say it's like music, like, the electric guitar, you can play rock and roll on it, you can play country music on it, you can play jazz on it. It's all the same thing being done through this one instrument, and the instrument is God.
Yeah, and so some people misuse it and make, bad Christian rock and roll.
Make jazz fusion.
Yeah. Well, that's what's funny is like as much as I'm thankful for being in that scene, there was a lot of stinkers in the punch bowl.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. That one thing that like I think about, because I went through like a period when I was 19 that I like questioned like my faith, like is God real and all that kind of stuff. And there's like about a year that I didn't really go to church in that time period. But one thing that still sticks with me to this day, like my dad, and I'm sure it's not his quote, but he would always say, like, if you let a hypocrite stand between you and God, who is closer to God? And so it's something that I always think about, like, people, the Bible's like people are messed up, like people are wrong. And so, of course, people are going to do that, and it sucks. But whenever my wife or I are struggling with something or a relationship or whatever, it's just like, we're people. Like, that's what grace is for. That's the main message of the Bible, and like Jesus coming and all that kind of stuff.
Well, even like in the Bible, not to get religious talk.
We are.
Okay.
We've
been on.
Totally are.
So, I mean, in the Bible, there's this story of Jesus, where it's overlooking, I forgot what city it was, and the devil comes to him and tries to tempt him. Temptation, and it struggles with it. He talks about struggling with like knowing he has to die and he doesn't want to, and like that's showing the human side of Jesus, basically saying we all have doubts. We're all going to question it. The real thing is, what do you do with it? How are you going to deal with it? Are you going to let it overcome you? Or are you going to let it go?
Well, see, and what
Frozen. That's my church, the Church of Frozen.
what were you saying? I like that. What you were saying earlier, I kind of had a question about. It's like, it's kind of like where to begin. It's like with the Grateful Dead, okay? Like I kind of like the Grateful Dead, but it's like before I knew anything about them, I was like, where do I begin? Well, you know what? I also like to read. I love to read.
Yeah.
I try to read it once a day. Okay. Something. I try to read something. Okay.
A tweet once a day.
Yes, I read that. I read one tweet a day, and that's it. But,
and it's my tweet.
I'm proofreading my own tweet. No, but I'm like, I love to read books, and I'm like, where do you start with the good book? If you haven't cracked a Bible since you were 15 years old, it's like, I bought a Bible last year off Amazon. Yeah. Idiot's Guide to the Bible is what it was. No, but I bought it.
Bible for Dummies.
I God for Dummies. That might be the name of this episode. But
I like it.
But I bought a Bible last year because I didn't own one. And I thought, you know what? Every home should have two things, a gun and a Bible. We are in Oklahoma after all.
Yeah.
So I bought a Bible. I researched Bibles.
Okay.
And let me tell you, the reviews are a real mixed bag.
Yeah, for
sure.
Robbie,
you are the kind of guy who does heavy research before you buy anything.
That's true. And the Bible is no exception. So I got a really good one.
What
did you go NIV?
version? Yeah.
I don't
ESV,
remember. I think
NLT.
it's the King James.
Okay, King James.
Maybe.
New King James?
Let's pause for a second.
I think it's the New King James version.
Do you guys remember the Street Bible? Was that around?
The Message?
I think, yeah.
Did it have graffiti on the cover?
Yes, and they translated the Bible to speak to the young people.
Yeah, that's kind of like the Message is like that. It's like a modern day talk.
Oh, give me that Game of Thrones speak, man. Like, I'm cool with that. I
don't need to hear,
Yo, dog.
Yeah. And then John went up to his homie and was like, hey, what's up?
Yeah. The Message wasn't that bad, but it was, every youth pastor would use it. Like, they'd have it in the youth room, but they would say, this should not be your main source of the Bible.
Yeah.
Supplemental reading.
Yeah, it's just a context. Because it really is hard to, like, it feels disconnected.
Yeah, like you're just making it seem like fiction.
Yeah. But
I got a Bible.
You got a Bible, yeah.
But I haven't cracked it because I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't mind just even if it's just subjectively reading some of the good book. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, where the hell do I? No pun intended. Where the hell do I begin? Do I begin at Genesis? That's where I
always like
began
Psalms and Proverbs are really good.
New Testament, perhaps.
I think
lay it on me.
If you're picking it up for the first time, Romans is a really good place to start. Romans is by Paul, and it's very much a synopsis of like the New Testament. Okay. Because like Hebrews ties in the Old Testament a lot, and then like Romans is like, and this is what it means and looks like now that Jesus is here.
All right.
Yeah.
Plus the Roman road. I don't know if.
Yeah, that's Saul to Paul story.
Well, no, that's the road to Damascus. The Roman road is like the talk track essentially of like the 3 or 4, 5 verses in Romans that explains salvation. And
I remember seeing a lot of tracts about the
All right, Romans it is.
Yeah, and so Romans is a good one to start. It's a little bit challenging, but Genesis isn't bad. A lot of people I'm surprised how many people read the Bible that don't believe in it, because it seems like a huge commitment to like I believe in it, and I struggle to want to read the Bible sometimes. But Genesis is like great stories. I mean, they're super weird, but it's a good narrative.
I always like the ones that have weird names, like Habakkuk,
Nazum.
Yeah.
That sounds like a metal band.
There's a lot of weird names.
There's a lot of metal bands with Bible names.
There's a lot of metal. There's a lot of metal stuff in the Bible.
There is,
dude, man. The Bible is metal.
Yeah, dude.
It's crazy.
Revelations has some pretty metal stuff in it.
It's sprinkled throughout, I'd say.
Yeah.
There's
But
some crazy stuff in
for
it.
going on that, my own personal interest, I've read through the Bible one time in my life, and so this year, I guess we were talking about resolutions at the beginning. I started a month early because I was like, it's going to be really hard to do, but I want to read through the Bible this year in 2020. And I don't, at first I was like, I'm just going to pick it up and start in Genesis.
Genesis 1:1.
That's like impossible.
Well, so I've made it, I'm like a third of the way through Leviticus, right? So Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus.
Right.
But I don't think I'm going to keep necessarily doing it that way. Just because that's also not like that wasn't the original order that was written.
It's not linear,
It's put together, and so I'm going to try and find something that's a little bit more... Because like Psalms, David wrote a large portion of the book of Psalms, and he's in like, First and Second Kings and whatnot, but they're not next to each other in the Bible.
It's like an anthology of stories kind of thrown together.
It's set up of like, I forget all the fancy biblical theological words or whatever, but it's set up in like the beginning of Israel and like God's communication with them, and then like their story of like their kings and their history, and then it's got Psalms and Proverbs, and then it's got the prophets, and so those aren't all.
It is very Game of Thrones, I guess.
Yeah,
really
for sure.
It's
really it's interesting, I guess. And then so in the New Testament's the 4 Gospels, and then all the different letters, and so those also aren't like. The 4 Gospels are the same time period, just different angles.
Perspectives.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's like, I was there, and I think I saw it this way. Like, are you sure you were there? I don't think you were there, Mark. No, I was totally there. It was this way, though.
Mark was full.
He was wearing a blue shirt.
All right, so we got to wrap up soon, but I do want to ask what's coming up next for you, CJ? Like, we got anything on the horizon? Anything you want to plug or
What's
talk
new
about?
for 2020?
So I do host Divine Comedy, co-host that with Josh Lathy every Wednesday at the 51st Street Speakeasy.
Boom.
8 p.m. It's free. Just come. Please just come and laugh.
You want to know what you can do? On Wednesday, they do half-price wings.
Oh, man, their wings are so good.
Wings and laughs?
Yeah.
Wings and laughs.
I'm in. I love a good wing. I don't love a good laugh, though, oddly enough. I hate laughing.
Fucking, that's why we're doing a comedic podcast.
Yeah, well,
Some
will say. Yeah.
Somewhat. An attempt at humor?
An attempt.
Well, cool, man. Thank you so much for coming
sure.
on.
Thank you for having me. It was great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've been wanting to have you on for a while, and been seeing you around. I was like, come on the GD show.
Hey, watch it.
Hey, gosh darn it show.
All right, thank y'all for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.